boom, shake the room. Here we are on this beautiful Tuesday evening. You're watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur here in Mumbai, fresh and ready for the cricketing action. But Michael Vaughan joining us from, UK. Vaughanie, how are you? We don't have him joining us from the UK. I've got Shaun Pollock joining us from Durban in South Africa. Polly, do we have you with us?
Yeah, you got me loud and clear. I'm all good.
Yeah, it's a win. It's a win.
And it's a win for Rohit Sharma as well on the toss. It's Mumbai playing Rajasthan today. Rohit Sharma has won the toss. And Polly, what do you know? The captain has chosen to bat first. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yeah, surprise. I mean, they've got a kind of team that can negotiate most circumstances. So, to get runs on the board, they've got a good bowling unit at the back end there. And if you look at the Rajasthan Royals, I think their weakness would probably be the middle order. And they'd really struggle to chase something down if they don't get off to a good start. So the thinking is probably runs on the board and then see what they can do from there.
I think we shall try again, just like England couldn't exit the EU at first go. We haven't been able to get Michael Vaughan here at first go.
I was reading a book. I went, I'm just reading The Manager. Great managers. It has Jose Mourinho, Alex Ferguson, and Arsene Wenger on the front. I don't see Jurgen Klopp, so I was just doing a little bit of reading.
That's because what you're reading is a historical. When you read a book that's contemporary with present times, it's only going to be him on the cover. Alone. Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Yes, I'm sure you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Second time in 3 minutes. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Looks like we're all set to go now. Michael, just in case you missed it, Rohit Sharma has won the toss and no, he's not decided to chase. The captain has said he's going to bat first.
We've got a captain that's using his nous a little bit and understanding that you can win either way. You don't have to just chase. It doesn't surprise me with the Rohit Sharma, the way that Mumbai have played in the last two games. They've won quite nicely. Rajasthan, they've had that great chase in Sharjah, but their batting has struggled, particularly at the top of the order. So he's going to ask the Rajasthan Royals to bat under a little bit of pressure later on, which is, in my opinion, a good idea.
Yeah, but, you said that the captain has realized that you can win either ways. Actually, this tournament has been, you only win batting first. So that's what the numbers are. But the captain still choose to chase. So I don't know what kind of twilight zone we're living in, but it is the year 2020, so anything is possible. But only one thing is possible. You don't get swayed by anyone and pick your 11 on My 11th Circle. Do it. Do it now. How? I'll tell you. Uncle Jika is here. My11.com, my11circle.com. You go, you download the app, you choose the game that is being played today, which is Mumbai and Rajasthan, and pick your 11 players and try and beat Dada if you can. It ain't easy, but it can be done, yeah. It ain't easy, it can be done. Similarly, Polly, Mumbai ain't easy to beat him, but it can be done, yeah. They've got a solid 11, but Rajasthan has got to sort of not look at that. And not look at how they've gone in the last couple of games and go, hey, it doesn't matter, man to man, don't matter, 11 to 11, we can take them down. You got to think positive because this you can't do a man to man with this because that's some solid men.
Yeah, it's really good balance, isn't it? Some firepower at the top of the order, Pandya, Pollard, and the other Pandya who's shown their contributions at the back end. You've got 3 international fast bowlers, some good spinning options, even someone to mix it up like Pollard and Hardik Pandya still hasn't come back into the mix from a bowling perspective. So you do always look at them and think, well, they're a strong side. Probably underperformed at the start of the tournament, but you do feel with even someone like a Quinton de Kock and the guys in the back order starting to hit their straps that they should actually go from strength to strength. And I would get the feeling that they'd probably be too strong for the Royals tonight.
The former. Let's see. Polly, have you by any chance spent any time with Mumbai that may be taking your objectivity away? I don't know. Maybe? Has he? I don't know. Vaughanie, what do you think? Vaughanie, what do you think? No, we don't want an answer from you. I want to hear what Vaughanie thinks.
But I've been coming to the Cricbuzz studios in Mumbai.
Yeah, no, that's not the reason.
On paper, Mumbai are a better team.
There we go.
Better organised. They know the combinations better, but it's T20 cricket. Anything is possible. And
That's what I'm talking about.
Steve Smith. I look at the Rajasthan Royals bowling. It doesn't fill me with a great deal of confidence. But I know from watching, particularly someone like Joss Buttler, who's been quiet so far in the tournament, that if he has a day out, and whatever Mumbai get, if Buttler comes out and plays for 10, 15 overs, he can chase anything down. And it probably will take that style of innings, a Buttler masterclass. Rajasthan, they just always seem to swap and change and manoeuvre around. They're quite an innovative team with the way that they structure the coaching. You've got Andrew McDonald, the lead coach. You've got Shane Warne sat in the stands. Clive Woodward, the World Cup winning coach from England, was a part of that kind of thought process of how you could potentially operate a new coaching structure. Whether that's right or wrong, time will tell. But there's certainly a team. You go back right to the start, they were like the Moneyball team, weren't they? That won that first IPL, picking players from nowhere, Warney leading them brilliantly.
They've also got, just to add to that, they've also got Amon Mazumdar and Zubin Bharucha, who are very well rooted into the Indian domestic system, Sairaj Bhautule. So these are guys, that's how Moneyball teams work, right? You've got to have your ear to the ground, literally. So, these three sort of veterans who are also helping. So, which is why you see, it's really strange. You've got these international superstars and almost like, these brand new kind of domestic superstars that you have. And that's how they make their team. So somehow, if you just we'll talk about the balance later. We just talk about the bowling, which you touched upon right now, Michael. Somehow Mumbai just seems like they've got far more sort of, in terms of variation, a lot more arrows in their quiver than Rajasthan has. They don't have that much balance and variation in just their bowling. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you mentioned all those. I sometimes think you can have too many chefs in the kitchen. There's too much going on, and that's what I would say to Rajasthan. There's a lot going on there, and they've made 3 changes. Again, changes don't always work for me in T20 cricket. I think you've got to stay consistent, but you're trying to find a formula. They've lost the last 2 games, so they're kind of just working out what they feel is their best 11. There's still no Ben Stokes, and that is massive. When Ben Stokes can play, which will be the next game. The problem for Ben Stokes and Rajasthan, he hasn't played since August the 1st. So even though he's a superstar and he's produced incredible performances for 2 years, when you've had that kind of time out of the game, to come back and hit T20 cricket with a bang, it'll be difficult, even if it is Ben Stokes. And you're just looking at that bowling lineup. Jofra Archer, he's a standout. He's got to come out flying. And Unadkat's not really performed that well throughout.
But Unadkat's been dropped, so they've got Ankit Rajput in place of Unadkat. So they've done the old switcheroo again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unadkat's the left armer that's always seems to get a huge amount of money, but doesn't deliver that much in terms of performances. And they're just trying to find a formula. And I never rule them out because it's Rajasthan and they can produce a performance. But Mumbai on paper look a lot stronger.
Polly, again, the 3 changes over here. Unadkat dropped, Ankit Rajput is in. They've dropped Riyan Parag, the youngster. I don't know, seems like a guy you want to persist with. And they've dropped, happy to see Yashasvi Jaiswal back in the team. He only played 1 game and made way for Butler. But he's coming in place of Robin Uthappan. You've got to feel they got him from Kolkata. They bought him at the auction, right? They've played him out of position, essentially. And now if they've made this change, it perhaps just seems like it may just be the end of the road for Robbie in pink.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't looked in good touch, to be totally honest. And it is their experience. They were obviously banking on that fact with the youngsters that they've got. They could use him to good effect. But even when he's come out to the crease, he seemed very, in many ways, scared to try and express himself. He was almost looking like he was just trying to get a score so that he could settle himself down. And it's all too late. And Lamour made his debut, I think, in the last game. So it's basically 4 changes in the short space of time. Yeah. And it does tend to give you the impression that they all are sort of calling all pockets and trying to find some sort of combination. But I agree with Warney. The sooner Ben Stokes gets there, it'll just bring so much more balance and like they can actually go in and compete. And at this stage, I think if you're totally honest with them, they're going to be saying to you, well, we need a Butler or we need a Steve Smith to have an unbelievable game and maybe Jofra to play unbelievably as well. But if you just say to them, well, if you just put in a consistent team effort, can you beat Mumbai? I don't think they can at this stage. It needs something exponential.
Yeah, the problem, Paul, is in teams, when you start making changes, as you mentioned, 4 changes inside 2 games, Doesn't matter who you are in that team, you start looking over your shoulder. You don't feel settled in the side. And I'm not saying that you have to feel settled and you have to be a guaranteed pick for every game. But there's that balance that you've got, particularly in T20 cricket, which is a game of high risk. You want to have the full backing of the coaching and the management, knowing that you're going to get a few games on the trot, so you can go and play a fearless brand of cricket. If you're kind of thinking, wait a minute, I need a personal score, I need a personal kind of impact with the ball rather than looking after the team, that's when it doesn't come together. You've just got to make sure that you're playing completely as a team, playing the situation. If you can get to that, great, but it's never easy when you're making wholesale changes like they have done in the last couple of games.
Yeah, the insecurity is always a problem in a team. As Voni's saying, if you're looking over your shoulder, then it's all gone Pete Tom. You don't have to look far. Just look at the two teams that have won the most trophies, 4 and 3 between them. Chennai and Mumbai, always the teams with the least number of changes, the most settled 11. So, something to learn from that. But I guess all the teams are still trying to find their balance and perhaps will not stop till they find that correct 11. But you need our trump card to make your correct 11. Here it is on my 11th circle trump card. We have Surya Kumar Yadav on it because he likes the Rajasthan bowling. He likes the Chennai bowling. He just likes it. The thing is, but also, Polly, the thing with Sky is if you want him in your team, then you're supporting Mumbai, but you almost want an early wicket to go.
Yeah, it's true, and they're trying to find the balance, haven't they? I mean, last year they opened with him, and that was almost when he was at his best. And we've always talked about Parthiv Patel and the fact that he can sometimes struggle once the first 6 overs are done to then find boundaries. And Surya Kumar is very much in the similar mold. He's a classy player. He puts away the bad balls. There's his average over 50 and a strike rate of 143, and the boundary percentage is high in the first 6 overs. But as soon as the field spreads, he's not one of those big brutes like a Pollard or a Hardik Pandya who can just clear the boundary at will. He's still looking for boundaries in many ways on the ground, and his 6 hitting percentages at that time is not in excess of what the other guys can do. So his role, I agree with the Sharma and de Kock at the top of the order, but I think Surya Kumar needs to adjust his game. Even in that last game, I remember thinking to myself, I think he hit 4 or 5 boundaries along the floor, some cover drives, and he got some juicy half volleys, a couple of leg stump deliveries that he put away as well. And I thought to myself, goodness gracious, how nice and friendly has this bowling been to him? Because he's a guy who you can build pressure on. If you hit your areas, he's not the kind of guy who's going to whack you out the ground. And then he got himself out flicking it down to the fine leg. So I think it's one area where in the team discussion, the Rajasthan Royals, we were looking and saying, listen, if he does come to the crease, if we really hold tight lines and give him nothing, that's where we can just maybe build a little bit of pressure. Sarab Tewari played in the first few games. When those two got together in that first game, they tended to go nowhere. So it is a little opportunity, and that's probably the only real weakness. Since they brought Ishan Kishan in, they've strengthened that batting lineup. But I think it is the one moment where maybe like a Jofra Archer, a good over to him could build some pressure.
But could it also be, could you just be in that Mumbai dugout and be telling Surya Kumar Yadav that, that day agreed it was the scoreboard pressure, or perhaps Sharjah pressure that you've just got to, chase that one outside leg stump in and give it to the 30-yard fielder. But could you just tell Surya Kumar Yadav that, listen, we've got big hitters around you. It's just everywhere. We're just all big hitters. Maybe you do the role that maybe Faf did in Chennai for the first few games. Maybe you just do that. Don't put pressure on yourself. 125 is a good strike rate. Just make sure that you're holding an end up. Do you think that could be? Or Mumbai is strong enough to not need that?
Yeah, I think that, the way that he plays, you've just got to be saying to him, you've got to activate every ball. An activation, not hitting the ball out into the stands. It's just rotating the strike, realising that if there's a power hitter in and you're not the power hitter, if the ball's in your zone, you can get it to the boundary, you go for it. But if not, you've just got to make sure you're off strike and you're giving that power hitter every opportunity to strike it into the stands. A T20 batting lineup is not about just having brute power all the way down. You need clever, smart cricketers in there as well. And, running between the wicket, rotating the strike, targeting certain bowlers at the right time. It's just kind of a blueprint of a T20 batting lineup. 2 years ago, he was a leading scorer for Mumbai in the season where it didn't go so well. He was at the top of the order and got the most runs. So he's a player of class. He can certainly play. You know, and if I was, you know, and I'm sure Polly would be the same, you'd just be saying, you've got to play your game. You're in the team to play your way. There's no point in trying to play like Kieran Pollard. He's not that style of player. He's just got to play his way. And if he does that, he'll contribute to the team.
Yeah, and I think from a management perspective, I mean, you got the right game. That Jay Wadino, he's sitting in the dugout, and his strength wasn't really to whack it out the ground. He found a way to be very effective in this format. So I'm sure they'll be spending a little bit of time. I think the battle for him is just that he doesn't know when he's going to be going in. You know, at the top of the order, he walks and he knows what the game plan is, and he tries to back his strengths. Sometimes he'll come on and it's the last over of the power play, and maybe a spinner's on, and he's not too sure what he should or shouldn't do, and that'll come with experience.
It's and of course the Mumbai power hitting. It's a topic of much discussion, because when you have the Pandya brothers and you have Pollard and Rohit, you know you're going to get these, right? But the fact is, look at it. Mumbai actually hit more sixes in Dubai than they hit in Sharjah. I love that stat, Polly. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'll tell you what, you look at that team and you say Hardik Pandya and Pollard. And then in the last game, Krunal Pandya was, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me.
And he was loud about it. He was loud and upset about it.
Yeah, he got 20 and 4 balls. Last 4 balls. The first one went out the ground, and he was brilliant. So, and a left-handed option. So that gives them another dimension that you can sometimes forget about. And Pattinson can have a few lusty blows. So they have got quite a bit of depth as well.
Yeah, it's a good batting lineup. That it's an exciting batting lineup to watch. And you've got Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock at the top, you know, two of the most strokeful batsmen that you could watch. Well, let's see the boost stamina meter and who's been expending all the energy. We've got Andre Russell, of course, right at the top. I'm sure Pollard would want to get him, but Pollard just, I don't know, maybe Pollard doesn't need to expend all that energy, won't he? Yeah, maybe he doesn't. But look at him. His batting rating this year is high. His average stay on the pitch is 32 balls, which is about 31 balls more than the opposition wants to see him there. His fielding rating is good. He's a gun. He's an absolute gun fielder. Long off, long on. Bonnie, you see this building standing there, and you think twice about hitting a six.
Yeah, he's a high rise, isn't he? He's a phenomenal cricketer, and the way that he's striking the ball. You know, you always look at players like Kieran Pollard have been around for such a long period of time, so how long can they keep going? Well, this year he's been pretty much back to his best with the way that he struck the ball, the way that he's moving in the field. To have, I mean, Polly will tell you about, to have that man mounting at long on or long off as a bowler, it is like having two fielders. Because most fielders aren't that tall. And they
one on top of the other.
It's like having two fielders on the long on or long off boundary. He's a phenomenal mover. The amount of those flick back catches that we've seen over the years, he's been involved in so many. You know, he's having a tournament of impact, and that's the kind of cricketer that he is in that middle and on the boundary. He's got to create impact, and so far in pretty much every game he's created some impact.
He's really nimble, Polly, for a guy who's that large. He's surprisingly nimble.
Yeah, you would just probably say athletic. I mean, the way he moves, and you know, he can be down on the ground and quickly up, and he adjusts his line of running and has ability to move quickly. He's got bucket hands, huge hands, and he's got a strong arm from that boundary. So, yeah, he's a definite asset in the field. And, I mean, you know, the fact that when he's batting, the team's always thinking, well, Pollard's still to come, Pollard's still to come. I still think over all these years, though, they could have got a little bit more out of him from the bowling department. I think he's underdone himself a little bit. But, you know, that's what happens with these all-rounders. When the batting's good, then the bowling tends to be just left behind a touch.
Just you mean us all-rounders, right? I mean you.
No, those all-rounders.
Those. No, you're not counted in that. Yeah.
I never left the bowling behind, unfortunately. Looking back, I probably could have for a while.
So, of course, there's Rajasthan who's going to be bowling first, because Mumbai has chosen to bat. We did tell you earlier that there are quite a few changes that Rajasthan has made over there. The game today is being played in Abu Dhabi, so you can expect a lot more running that's going on, that's happening, you know, with that sort of big field. And, of course, then you've got Archer, who comes up right in the beginning against Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock. And, Wani, that's a battle I'm looking forward to. It's class on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, Archer, just look at those speeds there. The fastest delivery of the IPL this year has been by Jofra Archer, 152 0.13 kilometers an hour.
Still no Rabada. Still no Rabada.
He just gets wickets. He doesn't need to bowl so fast. Jofra's in white ball cricket, he's a revelation. He just has that knack of bowling quickly, bowling the right deliveries at the right time. T20 cricket seems to suit him. He's been great for England in the 50-over game. In Test cricket, he's had his ups and downs. He's had some good times. He's had some moments where we've kind of watched him and go, what kind of bowler is he in Test match cricket? I think he's just trying to find his way in the Test arena of the kind of bowler that he needs to be. I think the England team want him to be this impactful 150 kilometres an hour bowler, maybe bowl a few overs left, but create a bit of impact. He's a good guy. I mean, he's a very relaxed character from Barbados, as you can imagine. Massive on social media, loves playing Call of Duty. A big Manchester United fan. He's big with Marcus Rashford.
Okay, he's won me over now. He's won me over.
Yeah,
and he lost me.
I watch him, and he's had some criticism by many in England, and I don't quite understand why, because he's the kind of cricketer I'd love to play with. You know, anyone that can play Test match cricket, particularly in an Ashes series, and make it look cool with his jumper tied around his waist. You know, it was like he was just playing on the beach in Barbados or in the streets. He's just got that nice knack of just playing the game of cricket for what it is, a game of cricket. You know, and as I said, he's a young chap. He's done so much. He's won a World Cup. He's been great in the Big Bash. He's been great in the IPL. His consistency levels in Test cricket haven't quite arrived yet, but I'm sure that'll come over the next 2 or 3 years. He's a wonderful talent. The England Academy continues to grow. We generally used to get them from South Africa. We've now gone to the West Indies to grab a fast bowler. So it's wonderful stuff from the England management.
You understand where the frustration comes from a little bit. It's that ability that he has to bowl those high speeds. And every day you come to the ground, as the rest of the team, you know how uncomfortable it is for the opposition when someone is bowling like that. And you go, okay, well, let's see Jofra today. And if he's just off, if he's down by 140 something, and you're like, in many ways, you get a little bit disappointed because you know what atmosphere, what he can generate and the impact he can have and the tone he can set. So you do understand that. But I'm looking forward to this battle with him and Quinton de Kock and Rohit Sharma. Rohit loves those little pickup pulls. Yeah. Is Jofra too fast? Is he too going to extract too much bounce to be taking on those shots? So those first few overs should be thoroughly entertaining. We haven't seen the best of Quinton as well. I think he was quite concerned about his place, and in many ways the score he got in the last game was, I'm going to get a score here, but he's capable of bigger fireworks, so it could be an exciting first few overs.
Could be that Quinton with the last match has just sort of dredged himself into form almost, right? He's just forced himself into it. And if he has, and you've got Rohit going on the other end, this really will be delightful. I want to quickly ask, I'm not the expert of the game yet. I've not played the game. I just want to tell Vonnie and Paulie that I haven't paid the guy at the back end to do that. Just take a screenshot. We've got a question. Ask Cricbuzz Live. We will get to our guesses in just a second for the badge of honor. But you can send in your questions with using the hashtag Cricbuzz Live. I did it again, Chris Bug. You've been part of the MI setup, Paulie. How involved are the owners of the team, assuming they leave the cricket decision-making to the professionals? Would they mingle with players closely? Would they know the players really well? Henel Dauda has asked a lot of questions in that one question.
Yeah, he has. I'm going to try and get to them. They're very involved. They're very passionate. You know, when I first got to Mumbai, they didn't know too much about the game of cricket, and they had bought a team and they were quite excited about it, but they grew in their knowledge very quickly. They got a lot of advice from a lot of people, and they were thoroughly involved. You know, when a player was having a bad game, they'd get him to their premises and chat with him and see where he's at and if they could do anything to make him feel more settled and perform. So I think they also love winning. I think they've been very successful in the business world. So in many ways, they just expect that to carry over to the team that they purchase. So they have been involved. They've given it over to their son now, and he's as passionate and as involved as they were. So there's plenty of involvement. Some of the players I know try to keep distance from the owners. You know, no matter what team they're in, they rather just prefer to try and get on with their own business and just maybe spend a bit of time with some polite chitter-chatter at moments. But there are certain teams too. I think if you had to go through the 8 involved, there's certain teams who've got owners who want to be involved, And then you've got others who pick the team, own the team, and leave it up to the coaches and captains to run the show. So I think some have been successful doing it different ways. But I suppose you can understand, if you do buy a team, you would actually want your owners to be passionate. Sometimes maybe just take a step back and allow the management to control things.
Great. So you can ask more questions. Hashtag Ask Cricbuzz Live. I got to say it slow. I keep calling it Cricbuzz. I don't know why. We have the joy factor question that promises to not be very difficult today. And what's both of you? What do you know? Who was the man of the match when Shaun Pollock dismissed Michael Vaughan for the last time in a test match? Look at their faces. Come back to their faces real quick. Come on. Just come back to
I know what game it was, Warnie, so we can maybe work this out.
Which was the game?
So it would have been the Oval.
I think I've got it.
No.
No?
It wasn't the Oval, no.
I don't know. That was 300.
Must be a one-day
When
game.
did you finish playing?
208.
Okay, so we'd have played you later than that. So it would have been...
The test match, by the way. It said last time in a test match, so not a one.
Yeah, it would have been in South Africa. Oh, okay. We'll give it some thought. Good one, Joy. Nasty.
Look at these two. Look at these two young chickens trying to figure out where they've been. Well, we want to know from you if you have the answer. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Send in your tweets. And I don't know if the two of you, Bonnie and Polly, will be able to answer that question, but I will give you a chance to win the My 11th Circle Badger honor. Mumbai batting first in Abu Dhabi against Rajasthan. What score do you presume? Do you foresee?
Look into your crystal ball.
I
And
think you should go first, considering you won yesterday.
Defending champion. Actually, defending champion should go last. Least chance. Okay, so
Go.
am I going? I've got my number. I've got it. It's 182.
Okay.
I've gone wrong. 191.
I'm going to go 182 then.
Excellent. He's parked his car in my spot.
Okay, I'll go 187.
182, 187, 191. Okay, well, there you go. We're tight. Well, like, we've parked our cars in a way we can't open the doors anymore. Just crawl out of the back. Well, that's the we're going to crawl out of the back as well, and we're going to come back in at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. I'd like to thank Shaun Pollock and Michael Vaughan for joining us on this edition of My 11th Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. We'll see you soon.